Okay, I'm going to show how the nitrous control works. I got it on a stem right now, and you can see the RPM will go up and down. Go over to Advanced Engine and Nitrous System, and we'll turn it on. And the first thing is the low limit, and then we have a high limit, and this is basically your RPM window switch. So between 3,000 and 9,000 RPM is where it will be activated once the input is activated. You have a minimum coolant temperature and a minimum throttle position. If it falls below any of these two settings here, it will automatically kick the nitrous off. The input is on one of the digital inputs. I just got it set to PEO. So once this input goes low or goes to ground, it activates the nitrous control. If we go over here to the side, we got progressive or on-off. We have time-based or RPM-based. You have your solenoid frequency. Here we've got AFR safety, uses AFR2 targets, and what this is you've got an AFR1 table. This is basically your all-motor table, and then the AFR table 2 will be for nitrous. So you can set separate AFRs while in nitrous, and if you've got the AFR safety system turned on, then the safety system will look at the AFR table 2 to make sure that your AFRs are in range. If they're out, if they go out of range, then the AFR safety will kick on. Down here we have our solenoid outputs for nitrous and fuel. If you're running a dry kit, you can just set the fuel to the same as the nitrous. It won't do anything because you're not running a fuel solenoid anyway. But these are the outputs for both your solenoids. You can't have the same output driving both solenoids, so you have to pick which output you want to run stage 1, and you'll pick a different output to run stage 2. There's actually an output named nitrous 1 and nitrous 2 that you can use. It might make it a little simpler when wiring up. But that's it for that. We'll go over into the time-based tables. The first one here is your duty versus time. This is the actual solenoid duty. We got added fuel. This is the table for enriching the fuel. Retard versus time. This is for pulling out timing once that input is activated. And the same on the nitrous duty 2. You have separate tables for both of those. You can either click on the dot and drag it to wherever you want in the table. And you can click on any of the dots in the table. Or you can go in here and just type in what you want. Now what I have is this one will start at 0 seconds. So as soon as the button is pushed, it'll go to 10% duty cycle. And it'll work its way up to 99% duty cycle over 5 seconds. The second stage will kick in at 5 seconds, starting at 0% duty cycle, and then work its way up to 90% duty cycle. I don't have any fuel added for either one of these, but a person could. I'll just go ahead and we'll add 12 milliseconds at 5. And another thing, if you look, the seconds always follow. So if I modify the seconds in here, say 5.25, it will modify it here also. So the seconds are actually tied together in all these tables. If I change this one to 5 seconds, you see it changes it to 5 on those. So we'll add 12.82 milliseconds, which is a bunch, but that'll just show how it works. Now we'll go over here. We're in our RPM window. I'll activate the input, and you'll watch the nitrous duty 1 gauge will go up, and the nitrous duty 2 gauge will come on after 5 seconds. Now we're at 28.5. If I let off the button, we should go back to 38.5. Now we'll watch it again. If you watch over here, the pulse width gauges, this is the injector pulse width. And whenever I push the button, it won't do anything at first because we've got it pretty much flat line until 5 seconds. So as this gauge goes up, if you watch over here, you can watch the pulse width will go up about as it starts to max out. We'll see it. There it goes. And that's pretty much it. it's fully configurable to however you want to set it up. If you want a wet kit on there and you got a separate fuel solenoid, just set this to 0. It won't add anything through the injectors. You'll be adding all your fuel through the injector nozzle, or through the nitrous nozzle. So you could just have a pulse width for the solenoids, and then the retard if you want to pull ignition timing out. But if you're running a drive kit, you'd want to run your injection through here and add your fuel however you want. If you want just an on-off nitrous setup, let me go back to the nitrous settings. You can come over here and just hit on-off, and basically when this digital input goes low, it will activate, and you can add a certain amount of fuel and between the minimum RPM and the maximum RPM, and you can retard to so many degrees. So this would pull out 10 degrees. It would add 6 milliseconds at the beginning of the pulse, and then as it tapered off at the top, it would stop at 3. But you can change this to whatever. And like I said, this is just for a simple on-off type setup. There's no progress to it at all. But if you want a progressive, like I said, you just go up here and click that, and then you can click which one you want, time-based or RPM-based. That's pretty much it.